Hello, beautiful friends. I'm Meg
Oh,
of MegBurtonTudman.com, and I am so glad you're here. You're in the right spot if you are seeking confidence in your own skin. And I am beyond excited about our guest today. We have with us Randi Lattimore. She is the National Mind Body Director for Midtown Athletic Club. She is a dear friend of mine. She's one of my favorite yoga instructors. And I am so happy to have her on because we've chatted a few times about confident in your own skin. And every time we chat, we get like a new nugget of information. So I'm super pumped to see where our conversation goes today. So welcome, Randi. So happy that you're here with us.
thank you so much. I'm so excited and so honored to be here with you and with your viewers. And I'm really excited about this conversation.
Good, me too. Anything else you want to add about what you do, who you are?
Gosh, that's what I do has actually become who I am lately. And I love it. I'm the National Mind Body Director for Midtown Athletic Clubs. That role has been new for me for the last couple of years, but for 13 years prior, I've been the Mind Body Director at the Rochester Club. And we built a beautiful yoga program at a health club, studio caliber classes with teacher trainings and workshops and amazing teachers and programs from the ground up, and it's really been quite an honor and privilege to work in that capacity.
That's fantastic. They are lucky to have you for sure.
Thank you.
Of course. So let's get right into it. When we talk about confident in your own skin, what does that mean for you? What comes up for you when you think about that?
It took me a while to be confident. I think about it, and I think about when I was younger, my self-confidence was linked to what other people would say about me. Was I pretty? Was I good at something? And as I started to become an adult and create my own life for myself, I realized this confidence in your own skin was really something intrinsic. And I felt like the first order of necessity in order to feel confident in my own skin was to actually feel my skin, was to feel, to be a feeling. And I think we are so prone, or I was so prone to pleasing and doing and accomplishing that I never took time to feel what it felt like to live in my own skin. And when I did, it was a major shift for me.
Mm-hmm. Love
So
that.
I think, yeah, being aware of where I am, who I'm talking to, situations that I'm in has made me more confident. And as I have become more confident, it's also increased my sensitivity and my compassion to other people too.
Mm-hmm. It's so powerful, isn't it? When you think that something internal can have such an impact on your external world as well.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
I love that idea of actually feeling the feeling and feeling your own skin. And I suspect that yoga played a role in that for you. And I think that's something, having been in your classes, that you have cultivated to your students as well. Can you talk a little bit about what that correlation is between yoga and actually feeling the feeling and feeling in your own body?
Yes. Well, you hit the nail on the head. That is exactly what I was getting at and where it came from and where I came to that realization. And it happened one of my first times in yoga class, and I was practicing. I was a newer practitioner, and I really wasn't even a practitioner. I was just going to yoga class because someone told me that it was a good idea. And I was doing a lot of running and cycling and, group exercise classes at that time. It was like 19, 20 years ago. And I remember one of the first times I was in yoga, I laid down and I was in Shavasana. And all of a sudden, the feeling of my skin, the feeling of my body. And it overwhelmed me, and I started to cry. I started, just tears were pouring out of my eyes. And I got up and I thought to myself, I am either never going to do yoga again or I'm going to look into this. I'm going to talk to the teacher and figure out what had happened. And of course, I talked to her and she explained to me that that's something natural, that this happens. And I still, to this day, every time I'm in Shavasana, and I do yoga a lot, I practice a lot, I never forget that feeling. And every time I lay down, I feel that sense of what it felt like the first time I felt who I was as a person.
Oh, that's so powerful. It gave me
chills
too. So if you are a yogi and you're watching, don't slip out before Shavasana.
I say, honestly, what I say is if you're going to choose a time that you could come the last 5 minutes. That's the best part.
Yes.
I mean, that really is. Well, we're so programmed to doing and succeeding and striving and more and more. And the real learning comes, the real sensation comes, the real change and transformation comes when we let go.
Yeah.
You know, because you're a yogi too.
I know firsthand, and the let go piece does not come easily for me. So I think any kind of tool or practice like yoga where I can, in a gentle way, kind of force it to happen is so, so empowering, because you're in an environment where it's safe and where it's encouraged. And if you cry, you cry. And if you need to come out of the pose, you come out of the pose. It just, to be able to feel what's happening for you is amazing, because then you take that off the mat and apply it in every other aspect of your life.
Absolutely. We become vulnerable without really even having to know that. And I think that part of feeling comfortable in your own skin is being vulnerable and being okay with being vulnerable. That's such a beautiful state of being. And I think people that have that vulnerability about them have a level of comfort in their own skin too. And the vulnerability is so different than perfection. And I think that so many people think in order to feel comfortable, we have to be perfect. We have to look a certain way. We have to be shaped a certain way. And that's not true for vulnerability.
Right. What do you think are some tools or even tricks? Because I feel like sometimes we have to kind of trick our mindset into getting it to where we want it to go. But what are some things that you would suggest to start to cultivate that vulnerability in order to feel more confident? Because it almost seems like they're opposites. To your point about perfection, we think, oh, I'll only be confident if I'm perfect, which I think is completely as far from the truth as you could be. So what are some things that people can do to help to nurture that vulnerability piece in order to feel more confident and more comfortable?
I think getting rid of judgment, self-judgment, is so critical. I think that's key. And part of not judging yourself and getting rid of that being the first thing that we think of is being superbly and supremely grateful. I mean, grateful for the littlest thing, like waking up in the morning. And I know it sounds cliche because we've heard it so many times, but it's so true. Study after study. And I know for myself, I know in helping my children, I have a daughter that's 22 and a son that's 19. And like, we all go through things, and there's hardships and hard times. And when we stop judging ourselves so much and start being really grateful for the little things and saying thank you and letting people know that you're grateful for them and you're grateful for a situation, and just recognizing that, I think that really plays a key part of it is gratitude.
Mm-hmm. I completely.
I also been, my dad used to call me so fun Randi, because I also have kind of, just by my nature, a lighthearted way of going about my day. And as I teach yoga, that's something that I think has served me in my life. So as part of my platform as a teacher, I like to kind of spread that feeling of, you know, you could have a so fun day. You can be happy and kind of let some of the stuff that's riding and things that you're judging or, you know, crap that you want to get past, you can kind of let go of it for a little while and realize how happy you are. So many people don't even realize how happy they
Right.
are. And express it.
I love that. And that definitely shines through in your class for sure. Yeah, of course. I think that the so fun piece is big, especially for adults. We lose that kind of spark or that childlike curiosity or that ability almost to have fun and to play. What are some things, what are some things that you found helpful to kind of lead with that? Because I see that in you, absolutely.
Yeah, I love to have fun, and I love, well, in getting back to your question, I think that so many people are missing out that piece. Like I've led two yoga retreats with Karen Lederman to Antigua the last couple of years. And the yoga, when you're on a retreat, you have time to get really deep and you can be really profound and the practice can be really rich. And as we're telling people about what they're going to experience with the yoga and also with kind of the self-care, the massage, the being on the beach, I say this. And if you're not having as much fun as you think you should be having, you're going to want to come with us because we are going to have fun. And we're going to have fun because we're going to dance. We're going to sing. We're going to move freely. We're going to smile. We're going to laugh. I think laughter is so important. My grandpa was a comedian.
Really?
Yeah. He was a comedian in Baltimore, Maryland. And my grandma used to write all of his lines. And it was like, if you can imagine a two-man, like a husband and wife version of radio Saturday Night Live.
I love it.
Those little skits. And so laughter was always really important in my family. And it's really important to me. I make jokes a lot, not to actually make a joke of something, but to allow people the chance to smile, to laugh, to feel kind of like okay for a moment.
Right. I think that's the key too, that things can still be going on that maybe don't feel ideal. You can step away from that. You can still smile. You can still find the joy. You can still find the gratitude in the little things and all of those, moments throughout the day where you've smiled or laughed or you've said thank you. All of that adds up to a pretty big impact.
It does. It really does. I mean, it's not to say that there are not horrible things in the world. There's sadness. There's things that are just horrible. But there's so many amazing aspects to this life. It's so blessed. It's just such a beautiful time to live in. I really do think that. And I think that our life is meant to be lived. And I remember that, like, how can I live my life today and really live it? Who in my life gives my life the most life and meaning,
There's such power, I think, in surrounding yourself with people who allow you to be the best version of you. So whether it's through inspiration or support or laughter or, anything else, those people are so key to have in your corner.
They are. And I'm so lucky to be in the profession that I'm in because, first of all, I have the most amazing group of teachers that I work with every day. And, you know, we've made this pact to each other. We haven't really said, but it's just underlying. We know it, and we help each other out. We are always there for each other. We want to see each other succeed. I hope that we have a culture and an atmosphere of joining together instead of having to knock someone down to look good.
Yeah.
I mean, really, when a teacher steps into that studio, they're only as good as the last teacher that was in there, and then the next teacher that was going to be in the next class. So, I mean, I'm really lucky to have surrounded myself with inspiring people. And when people are in yoga class, all of the yogis that come, they're really inspirational too. I mean, you know, because you teach, just looking at people move in asana, there's something so spiritual and inspiring about seeing that link of breath and body. It's pretty sacred.
It is very sacred. Yes, without a doubt. I think you chatted recently in one of your classes about someone had asked, well, I love the spiritual aspect of yoga. So which classes are geared towards being really spiritual? And your response was, well, they all are. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's what you walk into the studio. And I think that can apply to anything, whether it be, you know, something athletic, whether it be something professional, whether it be with your friends and family. When you walk in with that open mind and that open heart, or at least the ability to get to that openness, then so many doors open for you, and you leave that space feeling so amazing.
Right. It's all there for us already. Everything that we want is already there. Sometimes we just need gentle reminders.
Yes.
And it's funny, like so many of the things that you hear in yoga, don't you already know them? Like, oh, I already knew that. But just being able to hear it again and join in the feeling of listening to that with someone else in that connection, the connectivity of yoga and being, you know, with people that are on that same wavelength and vibe and vibration is awesome.
It is so awesome, for sure. When you think about your yoga students, and obviously without divulging anything that's been said in confidence, but what do you think are the biggest challenges that your yogis are facing these days?
Mm-hmm. People, it seems like a lot of challenge comes with the burden of everyday life. And also feelings of not being good enough. Not being good enough is, I think, overwhelmingly one of the issues of so many of the yogis and so many people in the world. We don't believe that we're good enough, deserving enough. You know, we're stuck in our own heads where we have this ideal life and we haven't gotten there yet. And what's wrong with us because we haven't gotten there yet?
Right. So given that, knowing that we are so in our head about not being good enough, that there's that thought track often on a loop that just repeats over and over again, and knowing too that there are the burdens of everyday life that, you know, some people are struggling with. What's your number one tip to try to move forward from that, to allow that not to keep us stuck? And I think too, especially with the piece about, you know, not being good enough, I think that mindset forces us to play small when really we have so much to offer and should be playing so big, because the world needs exactly what each individual has to offer. So again, what are a tip or a couple tips? I know it's a
That's so well said. That's so well said. I mean, one of my tips, and this is what I tell my kids, you know, a lot of the same lessons, kids, myself, family, yogis, my co-teachers and co-workers, are to find something or know what makes you happy. Like, what do you do that really makes you happy? What makes you feel good? Mm-hmm. And do it. And it could be the littlest things. Like, I love espresso, love it. And I used to go and, on occasion, or if I was out to a nice restaurant, I'd have an espresso. But then I'm like, I think I can have an espresso more often. I brought an espresso maker, and it's like, that makes me really, really happy. I start my day with a little bit of, caffeine, and sorry to all those very, very, very natural, no caffeine. Totally admire that. But, I start my day with reading something nice, thinking about something that I'm grateful for, and having a little taste of something that I think is delicious.
Love that. What a great morning routine.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And again, like, also realizing that there is so many things to be grateful for, that gratitude, again, it just always comes into play when when I'm seeking, the need to feel better. And I use that and weave that into my yoga classes quite often in a natural way, because I think obviously what we focus on, we become.
Yes.
So if we are stuck in the rut of telling ourselves negative, if we are negative self-talking to ourselves all the time, we are going to believe it. Mm-hmm. And if we can change our habits and start to tell ourselves some really good, positive things, then we're gonna believe it, and we're going to feel better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I firmly believe that. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. That self-talk is so powerful.
It's so easy to be in the negative self-talk. And not only the negative self-talk, that habitually negative talk, whether it's about yourself, whether it's gossiping, whether it's complaining about other people, about yourself. So I try to catch myself, quite often if I'm going in that, just really shifting where I'm going in conversation with other people, where I'm going in conversation with myself.
I love that. I think even things as simple as, when someone asks you, how are you? So many, and this was me for a long time, I would either say, oh, I'm so busy, or it would be, oh, I'm positive busy. It would be, oh, I'm so busy. I'm so much to do. Or it would be, oh, I'm okay. And I realized it after a while, and I thought, this is not, like, I'm so much better than this. And maybe there's a lot going on, but what else is happening for me? I have a friend who, every time you ask her how she is, she says, I'm awesome.
I love that.
I love that. That's amazing, because there are awesome pieces, to your point earlier. Even if not everything feels awesome, there's always at least one little awesome piece.
And it's such a generous and compassionate person that replies to the question, how are you, with I'm awesome, or I'm great, or like, this is a really great day, or look at the sun, because the vibration that we're giving off. So when someone says, how you doing? And you're like, oh, I've got so much to do. Then the person that asked you all of a sudden is like, what am I doing here? I have so much to do too. I've got to go to Wegmans, the dry cleaning, cook, got to go to soccer practice. Like, why am I here asking you how you're doing?
Right. It's a ripple effect in both ways.
It's a ripple effect.
We're negative. Yeah. I love it so much. I've loved chatting with you.
I love chatting with you.
Talk to us about what's coming up next for Midtown.
Well, Midtown, I get so excited every year, because I do feel like, hold on, I've got to switch something on my computer. Sorry. Okay. what could come up next is me taking a computer skills workshop.
Yours computer
That's not
skills
going to
are-
come up next. I'm so excited because there's always new things coming. And I think that is because I am seeing our teachers evolve all the time. And as they evolve, our members and yoga students are evolving. The club is evolving around us. So there's going to be some cool changes coming to the club as a whole. And the whole, I'm going to say like wellness area at Midtown, there's going to be some beautiful changes happening there. As far as the curriculum, our classes are going to continue to be really strong and have some common elements that, are apparent throughout the classes. And we're going to have our teacher training. We have a teacher training coming up, our 9th year of holding the Midtown Yoga immersion and teacher training that Amy Connors, one of Rochester's highly revered teachers, is going to be doing. We're going to be going on a retreat, Karen and I, again in April. So it will be our 3rd retreat, and I'm really excited to go on that. We've got some really fun workshops and a super fun, I'm big into fun, super fun party coming up in September, a big yoga jam with DJ Naps. I'm shouting out to all these great people. DJ Naps, who's going to be spinning tunes. And I think we're going to keep evolving. We want to do what the members want at Midtown. So I'm always listening and watching. We've got some really, like I said, amazing teachers doing some creative, interesting, intelligent things.
Yes.
So I'm really proud of that.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. I love that. If our viewers today want to learn more, what's the best place or way for them to do that?
Well, they could join Midtown Yogis. It's a closed Facebook group, and there all of the teachers get on and chat. We'll put quotes on there. We'll do some shout outs. We can put playlists on there, and it's a fun place for people to gather and ask questions. We've had people going out of town and asking, where the best studios are in New York City, what yoga mat to buy. So it's become a great little place to all chat, but also midtown.com, where you can pull up the club's website and you can pull up our classes, special events, and programs that's going on. My Instagram page, Randi Lattimore, is awesome. I'm also on Spotify, and I publicize all my playlists. I love music and I love sharing it. And so Randi Lattimore on Spotify.
Perfect. I love that. We'll post all of these in the description underneath the video.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else you want to add about living authentically or feeling confident in your own skin? Any other tips or anything else that's come up as we've chatted today?
Oh gosh, we've covered a lot, and you're such a great interviewer. I wanted to give huge compliments to you. You've made me feel so comfortable, and I'm really so happy and grateful to you. But, I think just cherishing the day and cherishing the little things, giving yourself some time to breathe, even if you think that you can't meditate or sit for a long time, just a couple of minutes of sitting and breathing, starting your day well, doing things you like to do in life, and realizing that it's really important to do the things you like.
Yes.
Not selfish. Like you said, the ripple effect, other people will benefit from that.
Right.
And in this day when you see so many people cutting down other people in order to succeed, my motto has always been lifting others up around me.
Yes.
So I'm going to continue to do that. And I think if we all can continue to do that, that's not a bad way to live.
No, it's, I think, a great way to live. And I love your message. I think it's so important and so empowering. So thank you so much from the bottom
Thank
of my
you.
heart for having you on.
I loved being here.
Oh, thank you so much. Friends watching, if you liked this, please give us a thumbs up. And I would love to have you subscribe to the channel. Randi and I would love to have you be part of this community. I'll have more phenomenal people just like Randi on, as well as some videos on meditation and also ways to reset your mindset. So I am here to help support you and lift you up, just like Randi's message encourages. So from my heart to yours, offering you so much love and light.
You're awesome, Meg. Thanks.
Randi.